Hey everyone, and welcome to Riley County, West Virginia. Today we're going to be taking a stroll through another mall in the southern part of the state. This mall is actually doing pretty good for itself despite the owners of the property. Let's get inside and tell the history of the Crossroads Mall in Mount Hope, West Virginia. The history for the Crossroads Mall is vague and hard to find for the early 1980s. However, the newspaper archives I use start picking up the most articles for the mall in 1986. So bear with me as I try to put the pieces together for the first portion of the mall's life. In February 1979, construction was already underway on a new 500,000 square foot, 63-store shopping center that would become known as the Crossroads Mall. The mall will be developed on a 69-acre tract on the edge of Beckley. Connecticut-based developer Ralph Beerbaum would design and build the mall. Anchors announced to be at the mall included Sears, Leggett, and J.C. Penney. On April 8, 1981, the Crossroads Mall would hold their grand opening and ribbon-cutting celebration. Some of the mall stores to open around this time and throughout the coming years were the Deb Shop, Hickory Farms, Lily's Crown Jewelers, K Jewelers, Spencer's Gifts, Chick-fil-A, Orange Julius, Rite Aid, Walden Books, Camelot Music, and many more. On December 17, 1982, a three-screen movie theater called Crossroads Cinemas would open at the mall. 3 years later, in December 1985, the owner of the cinemas, Curtis McCall, added 3 more screens, making the Crossroads Cinema a 6-screen theater. Around this time, the ownership of the mall was held by a company called Beckville Management. Situated approximately 5 minutes south of Crossroads Mall sat the Riley Mall. It's worth noting that with the opening of Crossroads Mall and with the years to follow would have somewhat of an impact on the Riley Mall, although they would coexist together for a number of years. Crossroads Mall was larger with 2 to 3 times the retail space and featured better parking and access from the highway. Both were problems that the Riley Mall faced since opening. Also, with the Crossroads Mall being newer, most shoppers went to it instead of the Little Riley Mall. The Riley Mall would ultimately be demolished in 2011. I'd also like to note that the Crossroads Mall and the Riley Mall had pretty much an identical layout, just the Crossroads Mall being a bit larger, which you can see by this map. In 1996, a K&W cafeteria would open in the mall. With other cafeteria chains going bankrupt around this time, K&W continued to prosper during the 90s. On January 16, 1997, it was announced that Leggett would be changing to Belk, after Belk acquired the Leggett chain in 1996. The official grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the name change took place in March 1997. In April of 1998, Johnstown, Pennsylvania-based Crown American Realty Trust announced that it would acquire the Crossroads Mall for $23 million and the Jacksonville Mall in North Carolina for $38 million, and a two-package mall deal for a total of $61 million. In April 1999, it was announced a $6 million theater complex with stadium seating and 14 auditoriums would be constructed behind the Crossroads Mall. In this project, Curtis McCall, who, if you remember, opened the Crossroads Cinemas, would close the theaters, along with the Showplace Cinemas located in Beckley, to combine them into this new megaplex theater. By this point, Curtis McCall founded the Marquee Cinemas chain and was the president of the company. McCall thought this new complex would be a great addition to his growing Marquee Cinemas chain, and wanted to have something special for his hometown area. Construction was set to begin in the summer of that same year, and was to be completed sometime in 2000. However, this ambitious project would never see the light of day. On Wednesday, October 6, 1999 at 10 a.m., Belk held a grand reopening celebration after a complete renovation and overhaul to the store, allowing for wider aisles, a wider mall entrance, and other features to make the shopping experience more enjoyable. In May 2003, it was announced that Crown American, who owned the mall, will be merging with Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust. The deal was finalized later that year in November, which made Crossroads Mall a Priat property. In 2005, Marquee Cinemas proposed a plan to construct its 14-screen megaplex cinemas in Beckley at a different location rather than behind the mall, in a new shopping development called Cranberry Creek Plaza. In early December 2005, it was announced that K&W Cafeteria would be closing, serving its last meal on Christmas Eve, December 24th of 2005. In August 2006, the Marquee Cinemas would officially open in Beckley. Originally, the plan was to close the Crossroads Cinema, but Curtis McCall, president of Marquee Cinemas, decided to keep it open and instead convert it into a discount house. Crossroads Cinemas 6 would hold out until August 2008. In April 2011, it was announced that Dick's Sporting Goods would be constructing a store in the mall. Dick's would occupy a space that was currently held by multiple inline tenants and build outward. FYE, Radio Shack, and a few other stores would relocate within the mall to make room for the new junior anchor. It was also announced around this time that PetSmart was going to open a store in the mall near their main entrance. On Friday, November 2nd, 2011 at 8 a.m., Dick's Sporting Goods held their grand opening ribbon-cutting ceremony. PetSmart would also open around this time. In January 2014, it was announced that the Social Security District office in Beckley would be moving into the old Crossroads Cinemas space. They would move in February of that same year. In January 2017, Prius sold the Crossroads Mall for $24.8 million. The buyer was later revealed to be Namdar Realty Group of Great Neck, New York, who still owns the mall to this day. If you know anything about Namdar, you know that they are famous for buying dying malls and not managing and maintaining them correctly, but they seem to be doing okay with the Crossroads at the moment. In 2017, it was also announced that Sears would shutter. They would close permanently on Sunday, October 15th that same year. Even though Sears was closing, during liquidation it was revealed that Rural King would open in its place. Rural King would open on March 3rd, 2018. I would like to thank everyone for watching my video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give the video a like. It really helps me out and it motivates me to produce more videos just like this. Also, I encourage you to comment and share this video to reach a wider audience. For our next mall video, we'll be heading 162 miles north to check out the Mountaineer Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia. As always, have a good night if you caught the premiere, and I will see everyone in the next video. And make sure to stick around to the end to see more pictures of the Crossroads Mall.